All right, everyone. So help me welcome. Drop a PJ in the comments below because these girls literally work from their PJs whenever they want because they're literally working from home. So we have Miss Erica Walker, we have Miss Sheila Day, we have Miss Melanie Montoya, and we have Deidre Sherman. You guys, these ladies have completely changed the game as far as telesales go. If you guys are brand new and you don't know what telesales are, it's literally protecting families with their life insurance from anywhere in the world. So I know Erica, she just got back from Hawaii and she literally was waking up over there at like 3 a.m. to dial East Coast time. And she was closing. Erica, how many families did you protect this week?
32.
32 families protected in a week from her PJs. So you guys can't tell me that you guys aren't excited to hear about this. So I guess we'll do this. I guess we'll go through some objections and their intros and all that, but I'm going to have everyone drop some common objections that you guys get if you guys are selling over telesale or over the phone in the comments while these girls are kind of going through their intro. So Erica, I'm going to start with you. Go ahead and just roll through kind of like the mindset behind selling virtually and also what kind of leads you're running.
Yeah. So thank you so much for having me on this call. I'm so fired up for this. So I think the mindset as far as telesales is I think a lot of people, I was actually just talking about this. I think a lot of people have this misconception about if you are doing telesales that you're going to have to use more leads and you're burning through more, and that's not necessarily true. Yes, you do have to spend a little bit more on leads to get a higher, amount, but you're saving money by you're not traveling, you're not gas. There's a lot of other expenses that you don't have if you're just doing telesales. So I think that's one of the biggest things as far as like that mindset of, you still need to be buying your leads twice a week. I think sometimes people, they try to go with their leads and stretch them out way too long because they're just doing telesales and you're just hurting yourself in the long run. So I buy leads twice a week, if not three. It really just depends. Sunday, I let them flow in for Monday and Tuesday, and then a little bit on Wednesday, have leads come in again Wednesday and for Thursday and Friday. And then what I've been doing that's been working well is like for the weekend, Friday and Saturday, I'll go back to that first batch of leads and call them with a different phone number so that I'm still utilizing the leads that I have. Because if you're in the field, you can go door knock them, right? But telesales, you can't do that. So that's been helpful as far as like utilizing those leads.
Okay. I love that. And are you just running a mix of everything?
Yes, literally a mix of everything.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love that. Sheila, we're going to move on. And I'm going to ask you this. How important is phone burner for telesales, and how many dials would you say you make a day using phone burner?
Of course you would ask me that one because she knows I love phone burner. I'm like addicted. So when I am running internet leads, which a lot of times with telesales, I will run 1 month internet leads. And when I run those, I can do, 100, 120 calls in an hour. So, I mean, when we say 1,000 dials a day, like it's literally 1,000 dials a day when you're running those leads. But it's fast because you're constantly moving. It's so much more effective than trying to hand dial. Like hand dialing, maybe I get 30, 40. I don't even know. It's been so long since I've done it.
It's so funny because when we first started, we didn't have phone burner. So it's like we were manually dialing. I remember buying, because we didn't have internet leads, we didn't have phone burner. I remember buying like a pack of 30 leads from Game Time, and it would literally take me all day to dial those 30 leads. Like it's the craziest thing ever.
Right.
And now you can literally just go in, buy leads whenever, wherever you want. And you can literally plug them into phone burner, and 1,000 dials a day seems like a lot, but it's really not. Someone just asked, how do you avoid getting marked as spam? And Sheila dropped a link. So thank you, Sheila.
Yeah. In addition to that, you want to mark your phone numbers in the caller ID settings in phone burner, validate them there. So you want to use their system, and then they recommend this particular site for further validation.
Awesome. I love that. Mel, let's get it. You are the telesales queen. I want to hear about your mindset when it comes to telesales, because I know you were in the field and you were crushing it. And you just were like, okay, let's try this thing. So was it great right from the start? Did you have a little bit of a learning curve? Talk about that.
Yeah, so we all had a learning curve. I heard a lot of things about, yeah, like Erica said, buying more leads or just lots of chargebacks. So I was nervous. So what I actually did is I worked a lot of my old leads, and that's how I ran business my first 2 weeks. But kind of the way that we did it was, we want to serve the masses. So there's a lot of places like throughout the United States where there's not a lot of CRM leads, and we got a lot of single moms. Like we have a lot of boss moms on our squad, like Erica's squad, mine, I'm sure your guys' as well. And they can't always leave their home. It's 2022. People want to work from their home. So, doing telesales, I love it. I honestly like staying home. I like traveling and working with groups of people, but I think it's great. And, being able to work the different time zones, like right now being on the East Coast and running it up here. And then, tonight switching it over to, mountain time or, working leads in Hawaii. It's great. So, yeah.
I love that. And honestly, like what you guys have been able to do as far as duplication goes, like you guys can just say, hey, I just hired these 10 people. You guys join my Zoom and literally watch exactly what I say. And while they're in that Zoom, you're helping them as well, which I think is just amazing. And I think you can build a massive business that way. So thank you, Mel. Miss Deidre Sherman. This girl was like anti-telesales at first. She was like, I'm a field person. And don't get me wrong, the field is absolutely amazing. We have so many Hall of Fame producers that literally do everything in the field. Me personally, I love the field. However, Deidre was like, she just transitioned. She was like, you know what? I am going to just give this virtual thing a shot. And now she doesn't want to go in the field. So talk about that a little bit, Deidre.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Yeah. So I was a field agent for 4 years. And I dabbled a little bit right when COVID started. I dabbled with telesales for a little bit, and my mindset about it just wasn't right because I heard the same thing. I heard that chargebacks are awful. You have to buy more leads. You have to have more appointments because I was setting appointments while I was doing telesales. So I ended up going back into the field because I wasn't successful in the beginning. And the reason why is because my mindset about it was very negative. So finally, I came to a point where I was in the field, and as I'm trying to produce high numbers, I'm also trying to train a bunch of agents at the same time. And I came to realize, I'm like, man, I'm either going to end up in a car accident one day and hopefully survive, or I'm going to have to transition and get with 2022 and do telesales because I was either in a home or I was constantly on the phone, driving to my next appointment, texting and driving. So I was like, you know what? I need to just suck it up and I need to make the transition in order to keep up with modern day. So that's why I decided to do telesales, because back in the days we would run the field and we would bring people in the homes with us. And I was able to bring in maybe 3 people max. That was still a little bit awkward, but being able to do telesales over Zoom, I mean, we can have 50 people on the Zoom call. They'll be able to watch our presentation from start to finish. That way they can see it, they believe it, and then now they can actually do their presentation as a brand new agent from start to finish, and we can help them out every single step of the way. And I think it's super cool because somebody could mute themselves while they're on the phone with their client, and we could say, hey, say this next. So we're really helping them close that client with them right on the spot. Because what I realized is I would have a bunch of agents call me after they got out of the home, and the agent would say, hey, this is what happened. But in reality, they were telling me what happened from their perspective, not how we see it. So when we actually see the presentation from start to finish on the Zoom call, we know exactly what's happening. And we've noticed that our agents are having a lot more success, a lot faster because they're plugging into Zoom.
100%. I absolutely love that. Let's dive into the actual script itself. So Erica, you run every lead under the sun with telesales. Let's do an internet life lead, a 1-month-old lead. What is your intro? You plug them in a phone burner. You're now making your dials. Someone picks up the phone.
So it's my script is the same, honestly, for any type of how old lead they are. If it's an instant, 1 month, anything like that, it's pretty much the same thing. So it's, hi, Nina.
Who's this?
Hi, Nina. My name's Eric. I'm just calling in regards to the request that you sent in for some life insurance. I have your date of birth as 10/3/91. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. But I never requested life insurance.
So you were filling it out online. Was it maybe a spouse that filled it out for you?
I'm not married. No.
No. Okay. Well, if you're anything like me, I don't remember what I have for breakfast. So we do just have to get this taken care of just so we can get this out of our system. It'll take about 10 minutes. Go ahead and just grab something to write with real quick so we can get this taken care of.
10 I don't have 10 minutes right now. Can you call me back?
It's going to be really quick, honestly, and I'm super busy. So just grab that pen and paper just so we can just get this taken care of.
She's demanding. That's like strong control right there. I love that. So let's say I grab my pen and piece of paper. What are you saying next?
And I just say, mine's a little different. I say, all right, so I'm a broker with the state. So pretty much what that means is I have access to all the companies that you could possibly get coverage with. Okay. So I'm kind of like the Expedia of life insurance for you. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ask you some medical questions real quick, see what type of coverage you're looking to get. I'm going to put your information into our system, and then that's going to give me an idea of a company that's going to have the cheapest rate for you, and that you'd have a good chance of qualifying with. Okay. And I go into that because when you say, even though it may not be the cheapest, right, we're selling them on value, but when you tell that to the client and paint that picture, it really makes it like, okay, I don't need to shop around. And when I started saying that, it really helped with the objections at the end, as far as I just need to shop around. Cause then I can go back to in the beginning. Hey, John, I just said that, hey, I looked at all the companies for you and this is the best company that is out there.
100%. I love that. Thank you, Erica. Sheila Day, I'm going to have you go through your intro very quick. Let's say it's a final expense lead. Are you using the same script that Erica's using? Or are you switching things up?
Yeah, I pretty much use the same intro as the telesales script for pretty much everything. And I just switch up, the type of lead. So it's basically, hey, Nina.
Hello, who's this?
Nina, this is Sheila Day. I asked you about the form that you'd filled out online for more information on those final expense programs. You listed your hobby on there as reading. Is that correct?
I feel like I don't remember if maybe that was a long time ago. I'm not really interested.
I got you. Yeah, it looks like it has been a little while. It'll just take a quick few minutes. If you can grab a quick pen and paper, take about 10 minutes, and we can show you what you qualify for.
I really don't have time right now. I'm at work. Can you just give me a call later?
I've got you. You're at work right now. When do you normally get in the door from work, Nina?
Typically around 5 p.m.
Okay, I'll give you a call back this evening. Thank you so much.
Awesome. So Sheila, right there and then, you would not schedule the appointment. You would simply just say, I'll give you a call back.
Correct.
What's the reason behind that?
So when I first switched from the field to the telesales world, I tried to run the telesales like I ran the field, and I set appointments, and then I felt blocked into my schedule. So I have a call at 1 o'clock and they don't answer. And it's like, it's approaching 2. So do I call somebody else? Do I call, all that mess. And so what I found was just find out when they're available, just clear the schedule from the standpoint of when are you available, and then call them. It also gives me a ton of flexibility. So it's after 5. So if I'm talking to someone else at 5, if I'm eating dinner at 5, whatever that looks like for me, I can go back in and make that call. I can make that call at 6. I can make that call at 6:30. And it's after 5, so they should be home, right?
I love that. That is a great mindset behind that. Thank you, Sheila. Mel, I'm going to have you talk about this. How many times do you actually call your leads? Because I remember recently you posted, it was like you protected 4 families in basically one call. And you posted how many times you actually called them through phone burner. How many times are you calling your leads? Or when you buy that new lead pack, let's just say from the CRM, are you redialing old leads, or how does that work?
Yeah. So it's a good question. You got to work your leads like a lot. And the good thing about telesales is you can go back and work old leads all the time, but obviously get new leads. So typically, like when I dial them, I'll do 3 or 4 sessions throughout the day. And each dial session, you have to triple dial. There's a lot of people that are like, oh, I'm scared. I don't want to make them mad. Who cares? Dial them 3 times. So many times I know all of us ladies on here have dialed someone the third, if not accidentally the 4th time, and they've answered the phone. So I typically do that really, really, really hard for like 2 days, maybe 3 days. But that 3rd day, like I'm getting ready to buy leads for the following 2-3 days. And yeah, that's pretty much it. But I dial, like if I'm presenting, I should have, my goal is to hit 10 presentations a day. Obviously it doesn't happen, but I shouldn't have less than, 600 to 800 dials a day. And, being on Zoom, like I'm helping out other agents and whatnot, but you should be trying to hit at least like 800 dials a day. And if you're not getting anything for a couple of days, then, switch it up. But that's pretty much what I do.
Activities, everything. How many leads would you say you have per dial day that you're purchasing?
Yeah, anywhere between 100 and 120. So anything less than 100, like do not buy anything on it. Like don't buy any less than 100 at all. Like you're not going to work them properly. And don't buy more than 120 because you're not going to be able to work them effectively. So
I love that. Awesome. Deidre, we're going to go ahead and talk about the importance of power questions throughout the first initial part of the script. So, asking those questions to make sure that they know that they're going to have to give you banking information, knowing that they have an email address. So if you want to go ahead and go through that.
Yeah, absolutely. So the power questions, do you want me to break down the power questions or the reasoning behind it? Okay.
Both.
So the power questions is a way to take control of the conversation, because who's ever asking more questions is in control. So this is a way to take immediate control. And it's also to vet your clients, because you want to make sure that you're on the same exact page before you're proceeding to the application. Because if you're not, in 15 minutes into the phone call, they realize, oh, I'm going to have to give you my banking information or social security number, then they'll hang up on you. And you don't want to waste your time nor their time. So it's so important that you're not afraid to ask these questions up front, because again, you have to get out of your head and really actually get out of your head and realize that these individuals requested our help. So even though they may give you objections in the beginning of the phone call, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not interested. It simply just means that they don't understand what you're saying at that current point. So the purpose of these power questions is to get your client thinking on why they put in this request in the beginning. So some questions we ask, one is you want to make sure that you have their full attention. So if you feel like you hear background noise or something else going on in the background, I simply just ask, hey, are you at home and sitting somewhere where you can write down some numbers for me? What that does is that makes sure that you have their undivided attention. Now, sometimes I have closed policies while they're in the grocery store or they're on their lunch break or they're in their car, but you at least want to make sure that they're sitting somewhere and they're paying attention to you. And then I always ask, do you have a good email that we can use while we're on the call if I need to send some information over to you? The purpose of this is because if you ask them for an email like, hey, Nina, can I have your email? Majority of the time, people don't want to give out information. But if you ask it in a way where it benefits them, then they're going to give you that piece of information. And the reason why we ask it that way is because people want information. So they're going to give you their email. But the reason why we ask for it as an agent is because we have carriers that have an email signature. So when you're doing telesales, there's some carriers that only take an email as a signature, but then there's other carriers that if the client does not have access to an email at that point, or they don't have an email at all, then you can direct them to another carrier. So the reason for these questions is you're also trying to figure out, you should kind of know what carrier you're going to write the client with before you set expectations of the phone call. And I'm not going to go through all the questions because you guys can read through the script yourself, because again, I don't ask every single question on every single phone call. These are just prompts to help you get better at asking better questions. But my mindset behind it is when I'm on the phone with somebody, I want to ask enough questions where I'm creating a biography about them. What that means is if Nina comes to me and they're like, hey, tell me about your client, Stacy. Why did she come to you today and request help for insurance? I want to be able to tell her, hey, Stacy came to me today because her husband passed away 3 years ago and she had a life insurance policy in place. But when he passed, she was no longer receiving his income, so she could no longer afford a life insurance policy. But now she's at that point where she understands the importance of it because she just had her grandson pass away. So she wants to make sure that the day that she passes away, her son's going to be fully taken care of. But her biggest fear is that she's on Social Security. So she wants to make sure that she can find something that fits her budget. I should be able to get enough answers from asking enough questions just like that before I'm proceeding and setting expectations of the phone call. I want to know their why.
Guys, can you just drop a fire emoji or something down there? Because that just I just learned so much. Like those questions are key. That was amazing. Thank you, Deidre. Okay, right now I'm going to go through some of the common hurdles and objections people come over when facing, phone objections or doing telesales. Erica, we're going to start with you. Someone said, I noticed no one mentioned anything about trying to avoid a one-legged appointment. So when you get on the phone with someone, if it's a couple, what are you doing?
So I actually am not too concerned about a one-legged appointment, Mike. How I've handled this has kind of changed and it's worked really well for me. So obviously, if you ask them in the beginning, are you looking just to get coverage on yourself or did you have a spouse as well? And they say, oh, just myself, right? You don't know if they're married, right? Even if they are married and just want coverage, when you get to the end and they ask, you ask which option do you want to try to qualify for? And they say, oh, I need to talk to my spouse. First off, always agree with them. You don't want like this pushback with the client. So what I do, and something that's worked well, is I say, hey, absolutely. What a lot of people do in your situation is we just try to qualify for our starter program. That way that you have some coverage locked in place. And then if you're approved, then you can go to your wife and discuss the coverage amounts. And if you want to raise coverage, then you know that you're already covered. And it's a lot easier to add more coverage once you've already been approved with a company. So number one, that way that they know, like, hey, I'm not just putting in an app to see if you can just qualify. Your coverage is locked in. And three, that you have something to go talk to your wife about. And I'll say, hey, what if you're actually declined? Then there's nothing to even go discuss with your spouse. So let's just get you started with the intro program, just to make sure that you have some coverage locked in place.
Wow. I love that. That was really good. So no matter what, just get one of them protected because then at the end of the day, it's easy to get the second one on the phone if you need to.
Yep. And even in the beginning, if they say, oh, I want coverage for my spouse, but she's not here, I say, okay, perfect. So what we'll do is we'll take care of you today, and then I'll schedule a time to call back because it's the game of keeping them on the phone. And the second you let them off the phone, 20% of people are going to answer the phone back. That's so low, right? So I don't care if you're working, if your spouse isn't there, you answered the phone, you have 10 minutes to talk to me. So
I
utilize
think
that.
A lot of people overthink like the one-legged appointments. Like everyone needs life insurance. I don't care if you're single. I don't care if you're in a relationship. Like it doesn't matter. I always like to think of when Hayden and I were looking for health insurance. Like I started looking first and he was like, dude, I don't need health insurance. It's like typical guy, right?
Yeah.
But like I was just calling. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get this taken care of for me. So same kind of mindset when getting someone set up with life insurance. I love that. Okay. Sheila, when you're doing face-to-face sales, when you're sitting with a client, it's very easy to, if they already say, hey, I have coverage in place, it's easy to say, okay, awesome. Go ahead and grab that policy and I'll go ahead and take a look at that for you. How do you review someone's coverage over the phone if they already have existing coverage?
Gotcha. Couple different ways, actually. Find out obviously who it's with, how much coverage they have, what they're paying, how long they've had it. If they have a copy of it, can you grab a copy of the policy? If they can get all, if they've got it, I'll wait. And I learned that from Deidre, actually. I'll wait to get that coverage. If you can't get the coverage and, the actual copy of the policy, then I will do a 3-way call with the company to find out exactly what they have and help educate them on what they have.
I love that. 3-way calls, guys, like most people don't actually know what they have for coverage. So this is really, really important. Like how many times have we all come across a client who's like, yeah, I have a whole life policy, but then they bring it out or show you what it is. And it's a term that's expiring next year or tripling in price. Like we can almost always put a client in a better situation. I like the way that you handle that, Sheila. Mel, how about I know in the setup, it's really important asking those power questions with, being able to get that social security number, being able to get to that bank account. But every single person on here has at least once or a couple of times struggled with actually getting that banking information. So what are some things that you say to get over that?
Yeah. So we just have one last check here. Who do you currently bank with? And I don't say anything.
Okay.
And then they'll tell me, and then I'll go look it up on Google, the routing number for that bank. Okay, so the routing number that's pulling up on our system is blah, blah, blah. Is that correct? They say yes or no. And then usually they say yes because they don't typically know, and if they have a checkbook, but it's all online. And then from there, okay, what's your account number? So if I do get any pushback, and if they're like, well, I don't want to give that out, or why do you need that for your application? Don't say anything else. You can literally talk yourself out of, getting something. If they say, well, I don't feel comfortable giving this out, whatever, then you can be like, again, this is just for your application. You've already been pre-approved. This is the method in which you'd be paying for your policy. So like I said, nothing comes out of your account until your effective date, which we just talked about a second ago, but what's your account number? And then do it again. And then if they give you even more pushback, you kind of just repeat yourself. So yeah, this is the account number that you'll be paying for your policy. Unfortunately, you're not allowed to get life insurance with someone else's bank info, and no one else is allowed to get life insurance with your bank account. So they do need this on file. Something shows that you do have an active checking account. So what's your account number? And then by then, usually they're going to say yes or no. But if they're like not comfortable, just like agree with them. Kind of like Erica said, you never want to, well, why not? How come? Just, yeah, I totally understand. And then at the beginning, giving out, your license number, all of that stuff. But I feel like a lot of it is just confidence. When you say it in a soft tone, they're going to be like, I don't feel comfortable. Or if you're saying, well, what's your account number? Again, nothing's going to come out today. Like if you're over talking, they're going to be less to give it out to you. So just confidence, ask for it. And yeah, that's pretty much what I've done.
Everything is in the confidence and control and just being assumptive. So I absolutely love that. What about socials? Because socials are in the beginning of the application. I've heard some people say like, hey, you can tell me your first 4 and text me your last 6. I've heard different things. What's your method behind getting the social security number?
Yeah. So on the application, I'll fill out everything, but the country they're born in, the state, and then obviously the social. And I'll say, all right, Nina, so are you a US citizen? Yes or no? All right. And which state were you born in? They'll tell me, all right, perfect. And what's your social? So that's it.
So assumptive. I absolutely love that. Thank you, Mel. If you guys, I'm going to ask Deidre one more question, but if you guys have any more questions or things that you're, struggling with, drop them in the comments below. We're going to try to get through as many of these as we can. Deidre, I want you to talk about how you overcome people just being uncomfortable, or like you could tell that they really want the coverage, but they're like, no, I just really don't feel comfortable giving you my information over the phone. At that point, like if they're in your state, are you going to go to their home? Are you going to FaceTime them? What would you do in that situation?
Yeah. So once they're on the phone, I really try to do everything over the phone. Most likely I'm not going to go in the field to grab that information. If you really, sorry, that's my dogs. If you really needed to, for sure. But I haven't done that yet, just because I think it's a big waste of time, because at the end of the day, they know at the end of the day, I forget my trucker headset. At the end of the day, they know that this is an application. So I think in the beginning, it's so important to set up extreme expectations, because don't let them fool you. When you say the word application, they know that you're going to need their social security number and banking information. Majority of the time, they've already been through insurance. They've already been through insurance before, so they understand that they're going to get that personal information. And also building rapport is huge as well. Okay. But if I get to the point where I ask them for their social security number and they still don't want to give it, I say, hey, I completely understand. Just like any other application, they have to be able to identify you, because the day that you pass away, they want to make sure that the claim's going to pay out to you. Does that make sense? Or I just let them know, hey, they want to make sure that nobody's taking out insurance under your name. But at the end of the day, just be super straightforward. Like, I don't try to hide anything because it is what it is.
Awesome. I like that. I'm going to just go through one more. You guys can go through it really quick. What do you guys do to really cement the sale? Because when you're in person, you know, you're making them a folder, you're writing the policy number down, you're actually physically handing them something. So they kind of have that peace of mind right there and then. Erica, what do you do to cement the sale?
So how I cement it, number one, is I let them know I'm going to be their broker for life. So I'm like, hey, if you get any other calls, like just let them know that, you know, you have this taken care of. I'll have them write down on that piece of paper my name. I give them my cell phone number. Hey, I'm giving you my personal number. I give all my clients this number. So if you need anything day or night, please give me a call or text me. I answer the phone. I give them their policy number, their information. I make sure again that premium's comfortable for them. And I let them know, okay, perfect. So your policy will be in effect today. So if anything happens, you're covered. Now keep an eye out for that policy packet in the mail. You're going to get that in a couple of weeks. Like if you do not receive that within 2 weeks, give me a call so I can make sure that gets sent out to you. And just let them know, like, I'm your person for life. You don't have to, we got the best rate out there. Anyone else calls, just let them know that you have it taken care of, just so that, you know, hey, they're aware if they're going to be getting more calls, that let them know that they have it taken care of. So that's what I pretty much do.
Awesome. Great. What about you, Sheila?
Very, very similar, honestly. I don't really have anything additional to add. I text them a copy of my digital business card, my information, reassure them coverage, price, all the rest of what Erica said there.
And I assume Mel and Deidre do the same exact thing. I think with this business,
Can I add something real quick?
Go for it.
I send a digital business card. That way they actually have a picture of me and I have them save it while I'm on the phone with them. Cause I think taking that extra step, it just builds even more credibility and letting them know like, hey, I'm your agent for life. And the Next Card Pro, I'll send you guys the link, but it will actually notify you when each client's like pull up your digital business card. But once I have them plug that into their phone, then I also send them the company name, policy number, coverage amount, premium amount, draft date, beneficiary. And most importantly, I actually send them the why on why they got the policy today. And the reason for that, like I'll say, this policy in place today because my husband passed away 3 years ago. So I just wanted to make sure that I have coverage in place to make sure that my son will be financially taken care of. And then the reason for that is because if they ever call me or text me wanting to cancel, I have all their information in the text message thread. So that way I don't have to go dig into my back office for their policy information or try to remember like, why did I write this client?
Yeah. And they call back and you literally fire back at them with their reason why they got the coverage. That is
correct.
Amazing. I love that.
Well, when you have their beneficiary name too, you can say it by name. So it makes it more real.
Everything. Ladies, you guys have absolutely crushed this. Thank you so much, you guys.